wasn't like I really. I mean, I don't know. I don't think of weekends as being a relative thing to what we do anymore to some extent, but I do and I don't. I don't know.
I still feel I feel I think
Well,
I could be a little tired.
I think we had a great weekend though.
I
When
think
I
we did
think
too.
about it, I'm like, so pretty quiet Saturday.
Yes.
We did something. There was some running around. There always
Yeah, there was
is.
some running around a little
But
bit.
and then Sunday we had some people over, and
Mhm.
I'm talking about making that a monthly thing.
Mhm.
Maybe a bigger thing. Hint hint.
Right.
Because we well no, because I tried a a style of making food that means we have enough food for the next month. But the idea of making stuff for burritos and soft tacos and nachos that
Yeah.
I made this vegan chili that I used Impossible Burgers or
I still
Impossible
I still
Burgers.
couldn't find the vegan chili. Was it in the garage
Well, no,
fridge?
yes, it's upstairs in the garage now in the red thing because I
Oh,
had some
okay.
last night. Because
Okay.
what I did was I took a bowl yesterday. Now we're a day later, and took half of the took a scoop of vegan chili and put it in a bowl,
Right.
and took a scoop of rice and put it in a bowl, heated it up, and then just throw it in. I made two wraps out of it.
That sounds
One of
awesome.
them I put coleslaw on. Oh my god, it was so good. Anyways,
Ooh.
so chicken, refried beans, beef.
Mhm.
At least currently beef at current prices. Who knows? Maybe we'll all be eating. I know that the person that bought the Impossible Burgers didn't give Impossible whatever the fuck what Impossible Burger.
Impossible Burger, yeah.
It's too much to say.
It's a Burger King thing,
No, they're
I
not really
think.
owned by Burger King. Burger King
Oh,
was one of
okay.
the place. They're at multiple.
It was one of the places that they.
Yeah, they were trying to get them out
Okay.
there. I think they're at a bunch of places now. I think
Okay.
yeah, you can get
I
burgers
only know them from the association with Burger King.
from the ads.
Yeah.
Anyways, and a fire.
Yup.
You know that we had some
We like
sound
fire.
out at the bar, but
There was some pretty cool pictures too.
you know what? We talked about that too. The idea that if we have fires here, that we're gonna have a whole series. We want to put up everybody's pictures of the fire. That can be
Mm-hmm.
people through the fire. I want the fire somehow in the picture.
Right.
That I forget. I had a cute name.
The
for it.
fire is man. It's like meditative. Meditative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
yeah. There you go.
we put one of the stools had broken, and it was a solid wood stool that was quite old,
Yes.
and so we put it in bottom flat so that the flames would run up the sides.
Yeah, it was pretty
The
cool.
point is for us, it's a form of meditation I'd like to share with people, in the sense of I think it's one of the coolest meditations is when you're meditating with people, and what I mean by that is you're present, you're not distracted.
Right.
That's the whole point.
President not distracted.
That meditation is non-distraction. Everybody goes, well, I can't meditate all the time. That's because you've got this other picture in your head of what meditation means, as opposed to meditation is non-distraction. Just my thoughts. But yeah, no, and then shoot, yesterday we had a good time. I mean, we sat with a close friend and talked
Yeah.
among other things.
Yeah.
And you know what? You ended up running around with a 9-year-old. Played Floor is Lava?
Yeah, we played some Floor is Lava. It was pretty fun.
For those of you who don't know, there's a giant climbing apparatus in the back constructed in honor of the 9-year-old over the last 9 years, actually. 7, I think. I think the first
Okay.
piece went in 7 years ago.
First piece went in 7 years.
Because at first there was a small, like one of those little Tykes towers
Right.
kind of things that if I had now, I'd put in the middle of that friggin' pool that I blow up. You know.
Would you build it? Would you build it the same way if you were building it now?
The wild thing is, I dreamed about the idea of building something similar on a bigger scale on more land. Yes,
Okay.
but everything that has happened to it has been organic based on his current
Like what he likes
well,
and
his
what he's able
abilities.
to do and stuff like that.
That so each new iteration has pushed his ability to climb a little
Right.
bit in one direction or another.
Right.
That he's getting he's doing stuff on ropes right now. There's ropes everywhere.
Mhm. I was trying to walk on that rope. It was not fun.
And he's
I was
working
very
on his
scared.
finger strength.
Yeah.
He's got immense finger strength. And then you guys headed for the Xbox and played some games on that for a while. And
Yeah.
speaking of which, don't let me forget, I have to go to his Gmail so that I can authorize whatever game it is.
Yeah, it's Fall Guys. It's a pretty fun game. But
God, I'm a trusting grandparent. But anyways, a papa, if you will. I am. God, the names I go by. Grandpa, Papa, Granddad. I don't care. I don't. I love them all. I love it when they call me Big Papa.
I love it when they call me Big Papa.
But that's not. None of those are the papas that got us here.
Yeah.
I've got Frank Zappa, Papa
Frank
of Dweezil
Zappa.
and Moon Unit.
Okay.
Dweezil named after his father's favorite little toe of his mother's. Her little toe is named Dweezil.
I've heard of Frank Zappa, but I've never heard of Dweezil.
You know what? You just made Dweezil very sad, but it's a reality. You know what? He had a short while where you saw both of them a little bit more on MTV.
Uh-huh.
So they were around. I swear
around
there's
a
one
little
named Zinga Zappa.
Zinga Zappa?
But I could be totally wrong. So the picture up is Zappa. Close enough to Papa. You just change a letter, and you can take a Papa out of that. The next picture up. So I was looking for the picture of the right Papa.
Right.
And eventually I came across the picture that I think of as a picture of.
It's you're looking pretty Papa-ish in the.
It's me.
Yeah.
With it's for the record that's photoshopped a little bit. The colors are changed. But
I don't actually look like that with a
the
white
person
beard.
it looks exactly like to me is my Papa. It looks like my dad.
Right.
I can look and go, oh shit, it's my dad. It
Right.
messed with me the first time we did those photos.
Mhm.
That it doesn't. I play with the idea that I can pull off any look.
Mm.
In the sense of I'll pick something to sort of even make fun of.
Right.
And this is the hipster photo shoot. So that in the hipster photo shoot, yeah, it's beard and hair, and there are ones with a slouch cap on. There are some where I'm in color in front of a black and white background. I mean, as emo hipster as it could get. It's books behind me, of course.
My aunt showed me a picture of my dad at 17, and I was like, oh snap, he looks like me, because I was 17 when she showed me, and I was like, yo, why do we look so similar?
I took a picture of myself I didn't take the picture myself. Shouts out to Kristen Sparks. Took
Okay.
the pictures and we played with them and edited them and stuff.
Right.
And it was supposed to be for a calendar. I was going to make a calendar of pictures of me.
Okay.
A little egocentric, but that's what I was planning on giving the wife that year. And the money got tight, and I didn't have the money to make the calendar, but I have the photos still.
Right.
None of these are the Papa yet that brought us here. In the
Right.
end, it was Papa Age. That I was
Papa
looking.
H,
I
yeah.
was running through. I've got a great picture of, Ernest Hemingway, where he's got these glasses and they're taped together, and his nose is broken. And I forget, it was something unrelated to actually There's a story behind why the picture was taken, but it's in a mirror, so he took the picture himself.
Right.
And I've got that picture somewhere. I've used it online before because it's one of my favorite pictures of him. He's beat. We all, to a great extent, we picture old man Hemingway.
Yeah. Picture with the beard. And
We
stuff.
picture Poppa Hemingway. We don't picture.
Young man Hemingway that
Oh,
volunteered to go to war
that's-
before America went to war.
You know what? And it's one of those things. If you have a history with old film, you may picture young Hemingway, but with a
Okay.
variety of actors playing him, because to some extent, all of Hemingway's stories are based on his experience.
Okay.
For Whom the Bell Tolls is that period in World War I. Yeah.
Right.
That. He talks about bullfighting because he lives in Spain, and that's who he's hanging out with is the bullfighters.
Makes sense.
He has a constant dance with death that he believes right there on the edge
Is where life happens.
in the DMZ is where it happens.
Yeah.
Between the lines is where it really exists.
Yeah.
and what we always talk about, being that I'm so damn verbose, is that we talk about Hemingway's writing style. That write it and then cut and cut and cut till what you have is what you need. It doesn't mean take out meaning.
Right.
It doesn't mean shred description even.
Yeah.
Oh my God, beautiful description.
Well,
but if it doesn't add to the...
I recently had to deal with this where I was writing something and I realized, like, I was like, okay, I have two things I want to say. I'm basically saying the same thing. I don't need to say one of these. So I'm just gonna take out the other one. And it hurt a little bit, but at the same time I was like, okay, I'm glad that I like cut out what wasn't necessary.
And sometimes what I'll do is I'll look, if I'm realizing two sentences repeat a thought, I'm going, okay, obviously I'm obviously having two thoughts.
Right.
How do I make this into one sentence that makes sense? So what is the subtle difference I'm trying to relate?
Yeah.
And how do I get best of both worlds?
Right. That's a good. Yeah. That's.
Well, that especially I use a lot of speech to text.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know what? And if you're getting text messages from me and they're long, there's a reason. I believe our mistake is in truncating our conversation when we could be having miniature letter conversations.
If you're ever around Matt and he just starts talking out of nowhere, just know he's probably on his phone speech to texting someone.
Well, but I think text, if you embrace it as a means of communication instead of as a way I don't have to communicate, because I use it for both. I mean, if somebody, back when I was with my, was still gainfully employed, it was a great way to get quick information, and just that way you knew you had it.
I'm getting better at quick calls, which is just calling somebody really quick to get things up to speed. It
confirms so much faster.
Yeah, it's so much faster than because not only when you're texting someone do you have to think about what you're saying, you have to condense what you're saying into a short form so that's the problem. And also you have to wait for them to text you back.
And you know what I do is I don't care when you text me back, but I'm going to answer your actual question. Don't hit me with something. If we're going to do this, and that's the reason I use the speech to text, so that I'm having a conversation. I pulled off 10 questions over 3 days on chat.
Right.
And felt the same connection. Added all of the pieces I normally add, told bits about me, expressed what we did did all of the pieces I normally would have done. It was friggin' awesome. And it worked. I'm blown away. It worked. I felt it. So it's trying to figure out which words had meaning.
Right.
So in that situation, if I'm testing out this ability to take my verbosity to a chat setting.
My verbosity.
Travel brought to you by Verbosity.
Verbosity.
Verbosity will get you there with more words than you need.
That's actually really funny. That's really funny.
And I know that about me. I know that I talk a lot.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
But it seems to resonate occasionally with people. Occasionally I seem to be getting something sort of right.
I either talk too much or not enough, so I'm trying to figure out how I can talk just enough.
You know what?
The
problem is you're thinking about it.
Well, yeah.
No, the only issue there is you're measuring.
Right.
And when you stop to measure, the words don't come out.
Right.
No matter which side of it you're measuring for.
Right.
Whether you're measuring it for just right or not long enough or too long, what you're still doing is measuring.
Well, no, I'm starting to.
But do you follow? No, that wasn't.
No. It's okay.
I'm trying to express how
that
ends up there.
I'm starting to reserve a little bit more when I feel like I have nothing to say. Sometimes I feel like I have nothing to say and I say things just to fill space.
The trick is, don't feel bad about any of those positions.
Yeah, I don't feel bad about them.
And then if you have the urge to try and fill space to try and say something, ask a question instead. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Bring so like, okay, I don't get that, Matt.
Right.
They're hoping that when
I don't mean on the show. I just mean in general in life.
I know. We're doing the show right now.
No, I know.
So I was bringing up the show.
Right.
I thought it was in today's topic, the show. I thought I'd bring it up.
I think I've been holding up pretty well today.
I think you have too.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah.
It was funny though for me to go, okay, now let's today on the show, we'll have the show about not putting on
the show.
A show
where we talk about the show.
Poppa Hemingway is a big deal to me. It was. They are written so powerfully. And I feel that to some extent, they're part of my understanding of masculinity.
I could see how you'd say that, yeah.
People think that you don't get the feeling that feelings don't matter. It comes across as a manly masculinity with a heart the size of a god.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's if you took that toxicity that so many people have taken from that era and added the piece that was supposed to be there, that when you look at Poppa Hemingway, who is dealing with some form of mental illness all the way through it, probably manic depression.
Right.
I forget if there is a diagnosis beyond severe depression or any of. I don't know. I know that then his offspring fight with that. There's enough of a genetic post facto that you go, okay,
that you're like, okay, he might have been dealing with
that
something.
makes some sense.
Right. Also, he did serve in what was it, World War I?
Does he ever actually serve to the U.S. government? I don't know if he does or not. Maybe he was running I think maybe it's ambulances he was running. No, that's Somerset Maugham. That's Razor's Edge.
I'm not sure what he did, but I know that. Okay, so.
Talk. Yeah. No.
What I do know about Hemingway is from a Woody Allen movie. So take this with a grain of salt.
Okay.
But when
Midnight
I saw
in
as soon as
name
yeah, Midnight in Paris. Yeah.
Excellent movie. I'm not a huge Woody fan.
Soon as Hemingway showed up.
Yeah.
As Hemingway showed up, every word he said, I was like, whoa. I was like there was something about it that struck me as like, okay, he wants to convey what he wants to convey when he wants to convey it. Like, almost like if I feel something, I will convey that in the best way possible. I'm gonna try and convey that in the best way possible.
I'm not gonna
hold it back. I'm not gonna carry it.
I'm gonna put it out there in the most meaningful
in the most meaningful way possible.
And it's not to say you're not going to say amazing, beautiful things.
Yes.
But that they will have meaning.
Yes.
That they will add to the story.
Yes. Even the mundane things Hemingway said in that movie.
Well,
were not mundane. They had meaning to them.
Most of that is Woody Allen in the voice of Ernest Hemingway. Not to discredit
I understand
the Ernest Hemingway. Watch A Movable Feast.
Right.
Because then at least you're watching Hemingway as written by Hemingway.
Okay.
Now, the fun part of the expat years, the years of, oh my God, all of the greatest American writers, disappearing to Paris.
Yeah.
The Fitzgeralds hanging out. The Cole Porter, wasn't that who was
Cole Porter
banging out the keys there?
Yeah, Cole Porter. He met Dali. He met Man Ray. Or something.
Manet and Monet are all that literally this is a moment that Picasso's hanging out.
Yep.
Oh my. And the movie is about reminiscing.
How could we forget Dali?
Dali.
I am Dali.
It just sounds so Dali. Melting clocks and all. I love, those are two of my favorite artists more for their, actually I love Dali and Picasso because the art's beautiful. But I actually also love them even more for their outlook.
Right.
Man, Picasso was running around, the French Riviera, still banging young girls up to the end. I mean, he was a man. He's a man, baby.
In your best Austin Powers voice, I like it.
Well,
I dig it.
And so you look at globally we can build that cafe now.
You think so?
Everything Papa dreamed about, everything F. Scott dreamed about, maybe even that crazy stuff going on Zelda's head. Zelda?
Yeah,
Isn't
Zelda.
it Zelda?
Yeah.
Zelda.
Yep.
And whoever that hot made-up chick was that was hanging out with the artist,
Yeah.
I don't think she's real, but that the greatest artists we can converse. You know, we have groups that start things called Socrates cafes. You know, shout out to Les Levinson. That, you know, that where the idea is, what if we had a rich discourse?
Right.
A movable feast.
Yeah.
That's the point. What if we lived in a world where that was how we saw life?
In a world where we see life like a movable feast.
But it's true that when I look at the gifts that Poppa Hemingway gave me, as I try to examine and I digested everything, the only one I didn't read was The Old Man and the Sea.
I get you said digested.
That, yeah, I didn't do it on purpose, for the record. But I don't do it on purpose.
It fit though, yeah.
In the world of feast, digesting is good.
Yep.
I think of that moment where you could see such amazing possibility in such a small location.
I get what you're saying.
And
yeah.
Our feast is so movable, it crosses continents. And by that I mean you know,
I don't know what you mean.
the bigger.
You just made two different gestures. I don't get what's going on.
As opposed to the me and you, not
okay.
we.
Okay.
We. Strata Council. No.
We.
Well, yeah. We. No. That. Okay, so tomorrow.
Right.
We're going on somebody else's show tomorrow.
Yes.
We're gonna be here for our show.
We're gonna be here for our show, but we're gonna go on someone else's show too.
I think they're expecting just me, but I think I'm gonna show up with both of us.
That's fine. They'll accept me.
Yes, I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
I'm talking neural diversity.
People usually love me. It's only me that gets in my head about that stuff.
Well, right. And if I'm gonna talk about neural diversity, bringing one person just seems silly. That's not
very
diverse.
I mean, it not neurally. No.
As an old black man, I feel if I don't bring the young white guy with me, that it'd look racist.
If I don't, I swear it doesn't work. But he keeps saying it. What the?
Jesus Papoose. Jesus, baby.
Jesus,
baby Jesus. So. We're bad people, and sometimes we tell jokes that are questionable.
Yeah, sometimes.
Because we're very.
Sometimes we cross the line. With it. Yeah.
I think so what we're going to talk about tomorrow, one of the things I'm going to talk about, because I talk about it all the time, is the idea that we're screwing it up.
How are we screwing it up?
Oh, we want everybody to be the same. If you were just more like Bob. Gosh, I wish you were more like John.
Yep.
You know, I wish I was more like Sarah, personally. That what happens is we're losing the part that's cool.
Yeah.
If you're sitting in an office of 5 million people in cubes and they're all supposed to think the same thing, you're wasting your time. Because what you really want is all of them looking at the problem a little differently.
Right.
Be amazed what you could get done.
Well, no, you get together a team. You're supposed to get together different people that do different things, you know? Because if they do different things, you can achieve more.
You got to understand, though, because most of what we spend most of our time on this planet is wasted energy as far as business. It's how to make more money, not how to get something done.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
Well, I mean a team to do anything, you know?
Well, I know. Can I go the other way with it?
Okay,
go
go ahead.
Drag me back?
Go ahead. Go that way with it.
Well, I think people are wasting. So we build up these giant. How do we move data around? And people are just cogs. It's the part that really we don't need people for. That really we don't all need to be working this much. But the entire global economy is built on the fact that it needs to keep growing, which it can't.
Keep growing, right?
It's stopping. For those of you who haven't paid
It's
attention,
going for the fact that
it's
we
grinding
need
to a
more
halt.
people.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't
We don't
work.
need more people.
Well, because what's happening, we expect a balance to be hit. The reality is that global repopulation has been dropping. Even India is below repopulation settings now.
I wish I could remember the number, but a good amount of the jobs that we have are jobs to make jobs.
Well, right, that there are leeches in the middle.
Yeah.
That there are a bunch of people not really doing anything. They're called, well, anyways.
Middle management.
Shh. I don't want to get anybody fired. But to some extent, or if you look at our medical system and the number of people involved that are not involved in medicine. If you look at and pick
like who?
An industry.
Or
what? Do you want me to pick it apart? Yeah, let's not.
Okay.
The number of people involved in just understanding coding for a variety of different insurance companies so that doctors can get paid properly, as opposed to a simplified system where doctors bill and they get paid.
Right. Instead of taking...
So it takes thousands and literally thousands, if not millions of people in this country working for doctors and insurance companies, and then working for third-party companies that all they do is handle the coding. Yeah. What I mean by that is the 3 letters that define what it is you get to bill for.
So instead of taking Poppa's method and cutting out the unnecessary stuff, we've just added stuff and just kept adding it and added and added. We're adding and adding.
Well, right. So what happens is it falls over. It's Pisa. It's like shitty books. If there's too much unnecessary, eventually you go, because it doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't go where it's supposed to.
Right.
You know, that I think, you know, you look at then old Poppa down in the Keys with his cats, so attached to that definition of who he was that as he's losing it, I think that's what happens. You know, that so attached to a sense of masculinity or a sense of passion.
Right. That he feels
I'm
depleted from
I'm
losing it.
Fully
I got
projecting.
It.
But that.
Do you ever feel like you relate to Hemingway?
Yeah. Sure. I did some crazy things in my youth. Maybe I should write about him.
Yeah, maybe you should. Write a couple.
What do you call it? For who the escort calls? I mean, you know what? I don't know.
I think you should try at least one fiction book. I think you'd really kill a fiction book.
I do too, but I don't know that I have time for that.
Okay.
That I feel like there's a lot of non-fiction to write.
Okay.
Has been the weird part. For those of you that don't know, if you've had an epiphany lately.
Epiphany?
Well, I really am. So it's writing in my head a lot still. The preface I wrote quickly, and now I know that there's an epiphany that's the end of the book. I know it's debating what thoughts
What thoughts to put in the middle?
Well, no, I want to interview. I want other people's experiences, not just mine.
Okay.
I don't want it to be a book about me having epiphanies.
I could do epiphany. Have I had epiphany? Maybe.
Do you know what an epiphany is? It's that moment.
Yeah,
of
it's when things click.
Insight. Yeah, it's that click moment.
I think I've had a moment like that. A moment or two.
I know some people that have some huge click moments.
Right.
That I have some huge click moments.
Right.
Not, I'm special. I have huge click moments. No, I think it's one of those things that the more you're looking around you, like yesterday you asking about the hair dye and me telling you thank you, and you're like, why? And I'm like, because the thought that came never would have come if you hadn't shown up and asked that question. So I appreciated that you had brought up the subject that caused me to go, oh, I know the solution.
Right.
But I wouldn't have known the solution had you not asked.
Right.
I wouldn't have thought about how much...
Still weird to me that you thanked me, but okay.
I wouldn't... So
I get the concept.
Justice was going home and he was apologizing because he fell asleep on the deck, and I was telling him absolutely not, because I preach the pause.
Right.
I push hard how people need to find time to play, to meditate in a way that isn't I'm working. You can meditate on work. I'm not saying you can't. You can. It's great when you can be non-distracted because there's a passion for what you're not thinking about lunch, you're not watching the clock, and we both have amazing moments like that.
Right.
You know, Violet Tran, meditation is non-distraction. Your goal is as much of that in a day as possible. There's no right answer. Right. There isn't, oh God, I didn't do it all the time. Okay. Who's keeping score? You? Is how it feels. Like, don't keep score. Part of don't measure, don't keep score, don't count. Oh, the Buddhists are gonna hate me. That the more of that you do, the more how much of this did I get from doing that, and how much of you're distracted. You're distracted. You're seeking some kind of merit out of it.
Right.
So how can you really be there? You're keeping score.
You can't be.
I'm not attached to before and after, and I understand a lot of people keep score, and that's okay. I'm
not attached.
When we were talking about talking, verbosity relative to Hemingway.
Right.
Too much, too little, trying to find the middle.
Right.
What was my answer? Stop measuring. It'll be right if you stop measuring. But if you're sitting there with a ruler,
right,
just the same way,
right,
if you follow me, that when it comes to measuring things, it'll throw you off track.
I'll say that sometimes in conversation, we'll be talking and I'll start thinking about that, but I usually put the thought out of my mind because I'm not gonna like call you on it and be like, oh, you're talking too much. Like sometimes I think about, I'm like, are you using too many words? Sometimes. No. Sometimes I think that.
So I am very careful of, so people very much react to my word choice based on my vocabulary. They think I'm writing big words to use big words when I'm trying to write my thought with the correct words. So the reaction is often, oh, well, why is he being so hoity-toity? Well, stay around me. The reality is you'll find that's how I talk.
Right, no, I understood. That's why I don't think about it as often.
I communicate. I grew up in a house where this was how you talk.
Right.
People often ask me to not, and it's caused problems over the years, and no, that's not fair. That part of who I am is my love of this language. It's like it's like my rhymes. It's like my lines. It's not supposed to rhyme in this sense, but it's still, there is a fluidity to the language and an ebb and flow that I love about beautiful language. And I like all of the words are out there. The joy of English is, man, we got a word for it all.
Yeah.
And if not, we'll steal it from somewhere else.
Right.
Right? We'll figure it out.
We'll figure out the words to say what we need to say.
But you're really going to start... that bundle of stick thing still never made sense to me. Why
bundle
would you
steal
sticks? That from England? I don't understand that terminology.
Mean? Oh, the...
No, don't say it. He almost
don't
said
demonetize it. Well,
no. My point is...
okay,
that you're right, but you don't want to cut your voice out.
Right.
Sometimes I feel like even when you're thinking about your writing, you don't want it to stop being your writing.
Right.
It doesn't mean cut out all of the nuance. Nuance is important.
Right, I got you.
And so if I'm going to have a conversation where I start off talking about neural diversity, because that's the subject matter, I'm going to use the right words around neural diversity on the theory that you made it past neural diversity.
Right.
That, you know what, that a lot of it for me, as I'm hoping we'll get into this a little bit tomorrow, is my concept of feature versus fault.
Mm-hmm.
That I think we look at the fact we all see it differently and make the mistake of not going, ooh, 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 that's another way of seeing it.
Right.
That I am all on board with the universe as elephant. That we all have a perspective of a piece of a blind mouse's, association with an elephant. That each of our descriptions, though varied,
Uh-huh.
Put an elephant up on the ear, sees a palm tree. Put another elephant up, thinks he's on the back. Well, the big leaf.
Oh.
Put another blind mice on the top, and he's in the Sahara. Put another blind mouse. Never mind. And he's in the dump.
He's in the dump.
But the
Why
point,
does it stink?
but why does it stink?
Why does it stink like that?
The point being, let's go low numbers. 7.6 billion blind mice looking at the universe. Each one you get rid of, you see less of the universe.
Mm.
Each one we lose, you see less of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
Each voice or story you don't hear, you may have missed a piece you needed. Each child you don't educate might have been Einstein. Each child you write off could have been Temple Grandin.
Mm.
Each range of things that we think of possibly as psychoses or outlook. I have a friend whose father suffered from schizophrenia who is now a medium associated working in the Shinto temples in Japan.
I'll say that that's not a thought that I frequently have, but it's an interesting thought.
That what point does even the people that are over here that we have defined as insane
Mm-hmm.
to an extreme. I ain't talking like po' boys like you and me with a little depression and anxiety or whatever. I
Yeah.
ain't, no,
Yeah.
I'm talking the people we've written off.
Right.
How do we know that? We do.
We
but
do,
we
but
don't.
we don't.
We don't.
We do, but we don't.
That it blew me away, the concept of talking to someone who not only is involved in something that I question,
Mm-hmm.
that I don't know about. I don't claim to have any answers about before or after. I don't claim to have a clue.
Right.
All I'm doing is trying to figure out. Here.
I didn't realize how lucky I was to figure out figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't realize that was such a big part of what life is. Like, until my friends started asking me, like, hey, how did you figure out that you wanted to do music and stuff? Or how did you figure out your purpose? And I'm like, well, one, I don't even think I've figured it out fully yet.
Well, right, that it's evolving.
Right. But also, I don't know. I really don't know. Like, I can say the things that I did that happened to stumble me into music, yeah, but, like, I don't know what it was that made sense and just clicked, Like,
well, that's a reality. God, how did I figure out what I was doing? And did I know what I was doing before I started?
right.
Definitely didn't cut out the verbosity if I did, huh? yeah. I'm gonna
No,
need
we
you.
talk
I'll
for
be
a living.
honest,
Keep talking. Keep talking.
I may need to come in this weekend and work on some TPS reports. Well, the reality is, yay and nay.
Yay and nay.
I've spent 25 years going, if you had a message like this,
Right.
how would you get anybody to listen without writing you off as just crazy? Because in your head, and this is what makes it valid, because in your head, you know the thoughts you're having. That's fucking crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Step one, get your crazy checked. But I didn't decide that. I knew that before. I talked about the idea that how would we deal with somebody that was trying to... How would somebody get hurt if they had any messages related to any religious organization in history on our planet. Any unifying message, any. I assume there are a number of people with that message locked up in the happy times.
Right. You know,
running around screaming they are this, they are that, they are this. I assume you name any god that's walked this earth and there's somebody claiming they were Thor.
I'll say that I spent a lot of time convincing other people or convincing the world that I wasn't crazy, that I forgot to convince myself that I'm not crazy. That took me a minute to figure out.
What if?
That I was convincing other people that I'm not crazy.
Do you want to know a secret? Do you want to know a secret?
What's the secret?
I talk about how the big symptomatic issue in this world is people feel unseen. That people feel misunderstood, unheard. They are hiding behind a mask. They are hiding everything about themselves. They are holding it all in.
They're not hearing themselves.
Piling the trash of their life around them, carrying it on them as defense. If I can get people to tell me their stories, they'll finally hear themselves.
That is a good point. That's a good way. That I never thought about it like that before.
When I talk about the devaluing of human life, and as we look out at the world and we go, they're devaluing life. Why does everybody value life? So why do they care so little about each other?
Right.
Projection, my friend.
Projection much? Right.
No. Why do the humans on this earth care so little about themselves? Greed is not an answer.
Well, no.
I want
power. The reason that we don't care about each other is because we don't care about us.
Well, I'll tell you a secret. Do we measure success by the value of the person or the value of the wallet? If you stop and measure, you will lose the value. And all we are doing is measuring.
You were talking about it yesterday. That I can't remember specifics, but you said something to the effect of Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, you know their words.
Because they died. That doesn't make me happy that they died.
No, I'm only saying.
Well, okay, so the Dalai Lama was forced out of Tibet.
Right.
But
and
we
that's
all know
why
his
you
story
know.
and
That's why we know who he is.
I like to say, and it brought compassion into the world. He's the compassionate Lama. That's his position. He's the Dalai Lama. He's the Lama of compassion. That's who he. He's that side.
Right.
You think of the Vietnam War. Go beyond Martin Luther King
Thich
and
Nhat
Malcolm
Hanh.
X died. You go Vietnam War, which means Thich Nhat Hanh for safety comes out, meets Martin Luther King Jr. So that we have a rational discussion about
war
and it
conflict.
becomes about color. But let me paraphrase, because it's not. Because it isn't about who. It's about the idea that the people making the decisions take no risk and send people that have nothing against each other to go kill each other. A la Russian war in Ukraine. The Ukrainians are fighting for their lives. I understand what they're doing. But washing wave after wave of blood over them from conscripts that they just keep moving up the age of.
It's all work to make work. It's verbose. It's too much.
Cut out the bullshit, guys. Can we Poppa Hemingway this world? Because I'm telling you, it'd be a good time. There's wine, there's women, there's bullfighting. Probably no more bullfighting.
Probably no more bullfighting.
We've added too much. Amish tech. Maybe we'll talk about that tomorrow. I don't know. I'm running away for the hills. That's what I'm doing before they find me. You know they will.
Run for the hills.
They just want to get me.
They want to get me.
Oh, Dord, I can't find a thing. There's my thing. I founded it.
You founded the thing?
That sounded really wrong.
think it connected pretty well. Also, we had 4 viewers at one point.
I saw that we got a mix. Willow was probably hanging out. Would be my guess. Am I off and I'm just not seeing it?
I believe you're off. It's still, yeah, it's off. I think.
Shit. Here it comes. How can I still be back on?
Wait, why is it?
It's got me typing stuff still.
Why is
It's
it
so
still
far
on?
off. There we go.
Come on, we should be off now.